Good day to all our viewers out there. My name is Heinrich Neetling and welcome to Mathematical Literacy. In today's lesson, we'll be looking at personal income tax. Let's get the show on the road. Right, so let's look at our first question. Question number 1, I said, Mrs. Lamini, 68 years old, is a consultant working at BM Consulting Engineers. She earns a gross monthly income of 45,900 Rand. She contributes 6.8% to a pension fund. Now let's look at what is important here. Her age, definitely, right, 68 years old. Her monthly income, gross income of 45,900 Rand. Then also she contributes 6.8% to a pension fund. Then there's our tax table, and I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. Now let's look at our first question. Right, so I indicated, use the tax table to calculate Mrs. Lamini's annual tax payable. Guys, and I want you to take out your calculator, sit with your workbook, and you work through all these steps with me. Okay, now remember, how do I determine annual tax payable? First, I need my gross annual income, right? And then I must subtract all my non-taxable deductions. And in this case, it's only the pension fund. We agree? Okay, now let's start. So to get the gross income per annum, I need to take the gross monthly income and multiply that by 12. So let's do that. Gross annual income. I'll start with that first, right? So gross annual income. So I'll take the 45,900 Rand and I will multiply that by 12 to take it from monthly to annually. 45,900 multiplied by 12. So that will give me a gross annual income of 550,800 Rand. Are we clear? Okay, so now, remember she contributes 6.8% to a pension fund. Now let's quickly see what is a pension fund contribution. Right, so pension fund. Okay, contribution, so what will that be? So therefore I'll take the 6.8%. Off means I multiply off my gross annual income. That's your 550,800 Rand. Okay, so I already have this as an annual value. So therefore I will just say multiply by 6.8 divided by 100. So that will give me my pension contribution, which is 37,454 Rand and 40 cents. Right, so there we have the two values that we need. We need our gross annual income, and then we need our pension fund contribution, which is now non-taxable, right, and we have to deduct that. Okay, so thereafter, I'll take now, let's move on to our next slide. Right, so I'm going to use let's start with our formula first to get our annual taxable income, right? Annual taxable income. That is the question at hand. Right, what should I do? I'll take, so equals to, we'll take our gross annual income minus our non-taxable deductions, right? Non-taxable deductions. What is that again? That is our pension fund. All right, so let's quickly go back and see what is, and now I'm going to substitute first, right? Okay, I will have to look at what is my gross annual income, right? So it is 550,800 Rand, right? 550,800 Rand. So let's go to that, 550,000. So that will give me 550,800 Rand minus, right? And we've calculated the non-taxable deductions. That is 37,454 Rand and 40 cents. Now this will give us our annual taxable income, and thereafter we can calculate the annual tax payable, right? So let's quickly do this calculation. 550,800 Rand minus 37,454 Rand and 40 cents. That will give us an annual taxable income of 513,345 rand and 60 cents. Now guys, why again is this amount so important? This is the amount we'll use, right, to go and see in which tax category will I find this amount, right? So where will I find 513,345 rand and 60 cents? So looking at the tax table, we agree it is definitely between 410,461 rand and 555,600 rand. Are we clear on that? Okay, so now what is applicable? Right, so now I move on to the right-hand side of my tax table. So when we in category number 4 here, right, what is applicable? It means you'll have to pay basic tax of 97,225 rand plus an additional 36% of the taxable income above 410,460. Right, and I know this is normally the confusing part, but let's quickly answer that. So what is applicable in this category? So I'll start off by writing my basic tax. That's 97,225 rand, right? Plus an additional 36% of the income, the taxable income above 410,000, right? 460 rand. So how do I get that amount? Now I'll write it out for you so that you can see. So you take your taxable income, right? What is our taxable income? Here, right? We calculated it to be 513,345 rand and 60 cents minus the ceiling amount here, right, of 410,460 rand. This is what we need to do here. Okay, so I'm going to indicate it's 97,000. We keep our basic tax. I'm first going to simplify these values here in brackets. Okay, so I will say 513,345 rand and 60 cents minus the 410,460 rand. So if I simplify that, okay, so remember I still need to calculate 36% of the value here. So when I subtract here, I'll get 102,885 rand and 60 cents. So on this, I need to calculate 36%. So therefore, I'll say multiply by 36 divided by 100. Okay, so therefore, it will be 97,225 rand plus, if I simplify this, I'll get 37,038 rand and 82 cents. Guys, are we clear on this? Let's add the two amounts together. So the 97,225 plus your 37,038 rand and 82 cents, that will give you tax before we look at our rebates, right, of 134,263 rand and 82 cents. Right? Remember we indicated we have to calculate the annual tax, right? How old did we say is this taxpayer? 66 years old, right? And therefore she qualifies for how many rebates? That's correct. That's for the primary rebate as well as your secondary rebate. And remember, a rebate is like a discount, so therefore we have to subtract it. Okay, so therefore I'll say minus my primary rebate of 13,000, and it's indicated here on the tax table, 13,635 rand. We also indicated that this taxpayer qualifies for the secondary rebate as well. So therefore I'll say minus the 7,479 rand as well. Right? So what do we do now? And look at this. So I'll take the 134,263 rand and 82 cents, right? Minus the primary rebate of 13,635 rand, minus your 7,479 rand. Okay? So that will give you your annual tax payable, right? And that is what our question is all about. We have to determine the annual tax payable, right? So that will be 113,149 rand and 82 cents. Guys, I hope that's clear to you. Quickly run through it. I got my annual taxable income, right? How do I get it, your gross annual income minus your non-taxable items. And then we look at our age to see for how many rebates a person qualifies. Thereafter, you deduct your rebates, you get to your annual tax payable. Guys, I know it's a mouthful, but please make sure that you focus on this. Let us quickly take a short break. After the break, we'll do some more maths. See you now.